from the Boston Innovation Network. We have Leo. Okay, Leo is here too. So that means we are ready to go, folks. So welcome once again to the Boston New Technology End of Summer Showcase. Steve Vilkas here, co-director of Boston New Technology, joined by some of our illustrious team members, including Jason, and we also have Vivek here, who's our chief organizer. So we're going to be hearing from some really amazing ventures tonight on what they're building and why you should be excited about it. As this is also recorded, we'll be, posting it on our YouTube channel and getting lots of views there. But yeah, without further ado, just want to welcome everybody once again, and we shall get started in just a moment here. It's gonna give me 1 second. And yeah, while we're waiting there, Jason, do we have any announcements we wanted to make about BNT in the interim?
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate everybody coming out, and we have a lot of exciting events coming up, both on ECOS as virtual events like this, and then some of them are also promoted as in-person events. So we'll have some more networking events, speaker series, and then our big event the end of September is going to be a Techstars Startup Weekend event. And yeah, I'll hand it over to Vivek to talk a little bit about that event as well. Vivek, did you want to highlight Techstars Startup Weekend?
I'm not sure if Vivek is still here. I think he might have dropped accidentally.
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
We can always. Yeah, I think we should actually get underway here. So our first presenter tonight is going to be Leo Dassa, who's going to be taking us through his exciting startup, LastMinute. So Leo, after you.
I'm having issues with the technicalities here. How you guys doing? It's a pleasure to be on here. I appreciate everybody having me. I'm going to go ahead here and share my screen and then go through this presentation. So just 1 second here. How do I do this? 1 second. Okay. Alrighty. I think this should work. Can you guys just let me know which screen you see? Is it infinite?
Yeah, it's infinite now.
Beautiful. Great. Okay. So we're going to do this.
It's otherworldly.
No,
there we go.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect. There we go. Awesome. All right. So I am the CEO and founder of LastMinute. LastMinute is a solution to automate internal healthcare staffing. So, why did I come up with this idea? So in 2016, my brother was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And because of that, I actually moved up to Boston. I'm originally from Baltimore, greatest city in America. Benches don't lie. And when I moved up here, I started going with him to chemo every single weekend. And, something that would come up would be, hey, we're a little, the nurses would say we're understaffed. We're not going to be able to be operating at our normal capacity. And I didn't really know what that meant until I actually went through that experience myself. So when they were understaffed, I was walking my brother to the bathroom. I was adjusting his bed, getting him his Diet Coke or the best egg salad in the world from Dana-Farber. Whatever it was, I was there to be able to assist him. And, imagine a lot of people who are going through this who A, don't have people there to be able to support them, and B, have that, that issue of healthcare staff being, understaffed. So through that journey, in the last 3 years of being with my partner, who's been a nurse for the last 5 years at Brigham, I learned about just how challenging and how manual her process was for, whether it was finding shift coverage or whether it was calling out or calling in, whatever it might be. I don't want to say got to, but I had to see all of the struggles she was having. So like these text messages and everything you're seeing here are real world examples where she would get text messages from her nurse manager saying, hey, we're in desperate need, we need you. And she would say, hey, I can't come in, I'm sorry, I'm in the Cape, or wherever she was, right? And through that process, I kind of understood more and more and clearer that, like, hey, this is something that's not just a problem, but it's something that is truly hitting home, not just to nurses, not just to healthcare facilities, but also to the patients, right? And because they had such a manual process, they had to spend more time on the manual process and less time taking care of their patients. And this is kind of like more examples of, hey, I need to find somebody to swap shifts with me. Here's a 6-page PDF here on the left. This is just a screenshot. But once I find somebody, then I hope that I have their cell phone number, and I hope I'm a social butterfly, because if I don't, I'm not even going to be able to text them. Even if I do text them, they're going to leave me on red, and they're not going to most likely be willing to swap shifts with me. And then this is another example of, like, this was only a couple weekends ago, where her nurse manager sent an email saying, if anybody can take over these shifts, let me know, please respond. You just imagine the manual process there. And what that does is, kind of like I was saying earlier, it causes burnout, it causes unsafe staffing, causes bed closures, hospital-related mortality, because the healthcare staff can't be as attentive. And then this creates a repeat cycle of burnout and increased turnover, which ends up costing hospitals a lot of money, not just from, a total hospital loss, but also in the way of, like, nurses are, they're getting burnt out. So through interviewing 100 plus nurses, nurse managers, CNOs, and so forth, I learned that by being able to give them a system, an all-in-one platform, essentially, that can aggregate all of this and essentially just let them, like, take care of everything for them. That's going to be something that's going to decrease that nurse burnout and increase that patient quality of care. This is what I found the market size to be, just from the few pilots that I have. I have 3 pilots right now. And I'm looking at charging $100 a user per year for now, and then going at $10 per user per month. And just from my research, this is what I kind of found the market size to be. So even on the low end, $504 million for nurses. But then globally, it's, we're talking about in the billions. So how do we do this? We do this through an app that my CTO and I developed, which is essentially an all-in-one app for scheduling, communication, shift swapping, and call-outs and call-ins. So, like, being able to come in right away, instead of, as you guys kind of saw, that manual process, sending out emails, whatever it might be, being able to come in and see, okay, somebody's requesting time off, somebody's requesting a shift swap. Who's requesting a shift swap? Are they about to be at their PTO, or excuse me, at their overtime? Let me look at my time statistics to see what does overtime look like. Maybe I want to hire another nurse because I have so much overtime. Maybe I want to open up another shift, things like that you can get quick visibility into. But then you go right into your notifications and you see who's requesting time off, who's requesting shift swaps. So you can just also, obviously, if this is just like the first 2, but let's also show you, the 9 notifications when you come in. And then from there, being able to see, where are you safely staffed? Where are you understaffed? Where are you overstaffed? Because if you're overstaffed, maybe you can move some of those people to the understaffed. And obviously the understaffed is very important that you get yourself to safely staffed. So when you get that visibility right in front of you, then you can go in and you can post, a shift, and you can say, hey, I need, X amount of users, or I need this team, or whatever it might be. I need just the RNs to go ahead and take over this shift. So being able to completely automate that process. And then let's just say they still can't find people. Great. Well, let's maybe, incentivize them with some sort of rewards, right? We see here that we're in the green here, we're in the yellow here. $150 isn't working. Maybe people just like Amazon gift cards because they love going to Amazon. And then within last minute calling out, once you actually get somebody to switch with you, or you take over a shift for somebody, being able to actually communicate with them through this portal, right? Because, like I was explaining earlier, my partner can only text message the people who she's friends with, and outside of that, she doesn't have access to anybody else. So we're creating that access where, as I showed you with that 6-page PDF, now you have everybody's contact, and now you can communicate everybody and anyone, so that we're really saving you time with getting that coverage. With that as well, we're not a scheduling software, and I really correct people with that, because what we're looking to do, and our grand vision, is to make it so that in 5 years and 3 years and 4 years, all of the healthcare staff can just completely set it and forget it and never have to worry about who's going where again. And that starts with being able to collect data and understanding predictive analytics. So, hey, we predict that the Super Bowl is going to come up. We predict there's going to be a spike in admissions because people in Boston really like to drink. So you should probably go ahead and, we recommend, 10 nurses instead of 8 nurses or something of that nature. But then also as a nurse manager, being able to see on a weekly basis, monthly, whatever it might be, how many times are people calling out? How many times are people shift swapping? Being able to actually have visibility into your staff is very important. Through this, I started on this just under 3 months ago. And this is what my current pipeline looks like right now. So I have 3 current pilots, as I discussed. The small hospital in Iowa, it keeps going up in users, which I think is a great thing. We started at 30, then 75. Now we're going to be pitching to their whole hospital organization for 200 users. So I think there's a good, potential promising price point there. But then also continuing to keep the pipeline going, right? Pilots are great, but you have to just keep on filling the pipeline with discoveries, demonstrations, farming. And, when you look at this, you think, okay, great. How do you have that much traction? So I come from 10 plus years of sales experience. So I understand the relentlessness that you need, especially in the healthcare space. I think it being something that I'm so passionate about, it's something that's able to really push me forward there. And then this is my go-to-market strategy right now. So essentially being able to segment out 3 different ICPs. When you get large enough, you want to be able to have different sales teams, different organizations supporting in different ways. And that's going to be really important. That's something that you want to be able to get ahead of. But then on top of that, understanding, what is going to be your ACV for enterprise versus small facilities. How do we get our names out there? Not just through healthcare groups, but conferences as well, right? You have to spend money to get money. And then also continuing to meet founders in the healthcare space, continuing to meet people who are happy to resell this, and then continuing to understand and hone into our small facilities and large facilities. And then this is the team right here. So we have myself, the CEO, and then Michael Hatter, the CTO. We call me chef because I've always got things cooking, and we call him Magic Mike because he's an absolute magician when it comes to developing this app. He has all of the front end developed and 80% of the back end, again, in the last 3 months. So we have a great team here to go after this. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. I'd love to turn it over to questions or see what people think.
Thanks so much, Leo. Yeah, with 2 minutes to spare, so fantastical job on the showcase there. So, yes, whoever has any questions for Leo, you can feel free to, on mic, and then, if you're in the audience, you can also ask your questions in the chat or request to come up, and yeah, let's just get some support here for Leo.
Am I just waiting for like questions or feedback or?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, really, yeah, well done there. And also, you can always put your questions, like I said, in the chat or save them for later. Otherwise, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Leo. So yeah, once again, if anybody has any questions, just feel free to ask, and then we will continue to keep things moving. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Very, very cool. Awesome. So next up, we're going to be hearing from Kekoa and Fouad from Maet. So Kekoa and Fouad, if you guys could kindly unmic and take us through your startup.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Coming in loud and clear.
And
Yep.
what about me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
First of all, thanks, Steve and Vivek, for having us today.
Of course, you're most welcome.
We got the infinite mirror again.
It's okay. No worries. There we go.
Alrighty. All right, so like Steve said, we're Maet, and it's actually the word team spelled backwards, which is the inspiration for our name, and it's pronounced mate, like team mate. And our slogans: discover competitions, get rated, and keep playing. So why are we focusing on athletics today? Today's post-COVID world is actually dominated by virtual work, metaverses, and mindless scrolling. So this creates a huge need and want for people to have meaningful in-person experiences, which kind of dives into our definition of an athlete, which is anyone with this ball-up desire for meaningful and healthy in-person experiences, not just the people who are your typical definition of an athlete. So yeah, a little bit about the founding team, both Fouad and I. So we're Gen Z athletes. I'm one of the co-founders, a former startup PM, published research in the data science domain, studied computer engineering and philosophy at Notre Dame, also played basketball and tennis.
My name is Fouad Zoghbi, originally from Lebanon. Kekoa and I actually met our freshman year of college at Notre Dame. I'm the other half of the founding team here at Maet. I have some experience doing business development and sales at a London-based startup. Studied international economics during my time at college. And when I was a kid, I did semi-professional boxing in Lebanon and played soccer for most of my life as well.
Yeah, a little bit about the logos at the bottom. We went through a lot of Notre Dame's incubator programs after we graduated, and we were recently awarded high potential star for them, which is one of the little accolades we have at the bottom. But yeah, next slide. A little bit about the problem. So the problem we're attacking, it's hard for athletes, going back to the definition we had in the first slide, to find good competitions at their skill level. And then we have this quote right here at the bottom: level of play is everything, yet is also the biggest complaint. And this is someone from an AAU and USL tournament organizer who organizes a bunch of sports events. And so our solution is this: a gamified marketplace for amateur team sports. And we're actually focusing on pickleball, that first sport there. And the vision is to expand to basketball, volleyball, and soccer. And on this platform, you can discover competitions, you can get rated, and you can keep playing. So yeah, a little bit about that unique value proposition. Sorry, am I coming in loud right now? I can see the volume turning down. But you can discover competitions, you can get rated, and you can keep playing. And the main aspect of our marketplace is this aspect of getting rated. It's gamified, yes, but the analytics underneath the hood actually revolutionize the way we approach sports analytics. The amateur athletic industry doesn't have a lot of analytics in their hood. Most people focus on in-game stats, which actually are not collected most of the time. And so the way we're collecting statistics and showing this to the amateur athlete is completely different than most of the way that people approach it in the industry. This is why one of our advisors, who has research sponsored by Amazon, the NSF, and Snapchat, called this algorithm novel, transformative, and generalizable because of the way that we're approaching the sports analytics space underneath the hood of our product. So we'll talk a little bit more about this rating system. It engages like a video game. It gives insights such as win probabilities for every single matchup. It quantifies skill like an athletic stock price going up and down. And it's scalable, which is unlike existing sports analytics in the field, which is why people are so excited about it.
As former athletes, Kekoa and I, we always get really, really nerdy talking about the rating and the prospect of having a scalable rating for amateur sports. And so obviously this is something that we're really, really passionate about. But what was the most exciting was seeing how players actually react to being rated throughout a certain time period. And so the man you see on the screen here is actually, his name is Larry Okereke, and he is the founder and director of the UB League, which is based in South Bend, Indiana. And Larry lives, breathes basketball. He hosts 3 to 4 seasons a year for anti-violence purposes, building communities around basketball. And we piloted our first iteration, or our second iteration rather, of the product with Larry on a league of around 250 plus players over the lapse of 2.5 months. And the excitement we got from the players was absolutely amazing. Larry thought it really helped develop the players, engage them a lot more, and just makes them feel like an overall professional. I can tell you from first-hand experience throughout the 2.5 months in the league, we didn't have all 250 players download the app on day one. And so 20-30% into the season, I would go up to some players that were rated on the lower end of the competition and just give them a little nudge. Hey, you're rated pretty low right now. And that got people a lot more engaged, just pushing. Seeing people rated, I think, really helped make the league a lot more exciting. And Larry is just a community host that's part of a much bigger market. And so the amateur sports industry is about a $20 billion industry a year, growing on an average of 6% year over year. Within that, there's around $2 billion across 10 US states at adjusted capture rates, which we've identified as our SAM. Even more narrow of that is our SOM, which is $137 million, which is just bound by our current geographic go-to-market. And so the way we make money, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're going for something that works. And so athletes buy spots in a competition. Say an athlete finds a local pickup session for $100. They would pay the $100. We would collect 115 on the app. So the athlete would pay $100 and the host would collect, sorry, I'll restart. So the athlete finds a competition. The athlete would pay 115 and the host would receive 100 for the price they actually posted at the beginning. So the entirety of the cost will be delegated to the athlete. We've done a ton of customer discovery on that, and athletes are a lot less price sensitive than hosts. In terms of the competition, some of the names here you might recognize, IM Leagues, Sports Engine. One of our closest competitors in terms of the rating aspect is Duper right now, but their rating system is self-reported and so really falls short of that reliable factor for the rating system. And so far, we tested our initial MVP back on the Notre Dame campus, just to see how players would react to being rated initially. And then we went out and raised our first fundraising round. And then we had the UB League pilot, which we talked about previously. And then we had our switch to pickleball, which was actually very recent. And the reason we switched is because we had 2 hours of play across 12 players, and our final rankings based on our rating algorithm were as close as perfect. When you compare what you see on the courts versus what the ratings yielded after only a 2-hour session, the rating system was very close. Pickleball is also a very immature sport that's very receptive to new technology. And so we decided to just focus on pickleball right now. The last thing we did was hold a pickleball open play session at the South Bend Racket Club with some top local pickleball stakeholders and some top local pickleball players. And so we just moved to Boston. And so next for us is to attack the Boston pickleball market. Our approach, first and foremost, is to get pickleball players engaged. And so we want to build a community of pickleball players by hosting our own tournaments and sessions. That's essentially acting as our host customers. So we would be the hosts for the first stage. Through that process, we would also be indirectly establishing relationships with hosts who might want to get in from the get-go or who just want to rent out their venues. Step 2, once we build up that database of players, that network of players, we want to leverage that database because it's very valuable to those hosts and the relationships that we've established with those hosts to get hosts effectively using our platform as their own sovereign hosts, essentially. Finally, we want to partner up with nationwide and regional organizations. These are hosts that operate across multiple venues. Some examples could be the Global Pickleball Network, the APP, Pickleball USA, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you all for listening, and looking forward to hear if you guys have any questions, feedback, thoughts.
Yeah, thanks, Fouad. Yeah, just opening it up to people, whoever wants to ask any questions or provide any feedback, please feel free, whether in the chat or up here on stage.
Yeah, I'm just kind of going into our biggest ask, actually, for everyone. If I can kind of go back to the last slide. It's partnerships, right? He just mentioned that we moved to Boston a few weeks ago. It's gained these warm interest of people who are in the pickleball community, right? Who know how it operates well. So actually, I have a question for everyone here. How many of you have played pickleball in the Boston area? Just like say in the chat, like yes, or like once or twice or however many times. Never. Wow. Okay. Once. Okay. One time. No. At PKL. Nice. So what other places have people heard of besides PKL?
Yeah, I have a place slash suggestion. There's kind of like a company or nonprofit company or that it's called Play Local, and you can rent like local tennis and pickleball courts there. They might be a good partner for you. And yeah, happy to make an intro there too, because they show like a lot of the pickleball courts, and you can pick and rent them on the platform.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll look.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, we've been looking at Play Local for since we moved here. It seems to be a super popular platform. Have you used it a lot?
No, I just know the founder of the platform. I've used it for tennis though.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be an awesome introduction, honestly. Thank you so much.
All right. Super cool. Looks like Aiden also gave a tip here for Harpoon Pickleball Social Club. Temporary but popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
awesome. And then, Aiden, do you know anyone at the club or maybe a very avid player that you could introduce us to who might have an intro there? Okay, no worries, and we'll try to find someone.
Awesome. Cool. I was going to say, you guys are probably going to be the ones that actually get me to take up and play some pickleball here. But I mean, thank you for a really cool presentation. Look forward to having you guys come back and keep us duly apprised of all of your progress. And yeah, we're going to be moving swiftly along here. Just give me a second here. Okay, awesome. Getting ready for another exciting pitch presentation here from Jack and Eski. Let's do some watercrafts.
Alrighty. So let me just get it up real quick. Can you see my screen?
Yes, indeed, sir.
Perfect. Yep. Alrighty. Well, thank you guys all so much for taking the time to hear my pitch today. My name is Jack Duffy Protensis. I'm actually the legally blind founder and CEO of Eski. And I'm really excited to be pitching you guys today and trying to get you guys as excited as we are over here. Alrighty. As many of you, I'm sure, can attest, jet skis are extremely noisy. Average jet ski can up to 110 decibels of sound, which is extremely harmful to the marine life. And not only is it harmful to the marine life, but it's also extremely disruptive to anybody who's trying to enjoy their day on the water, especially considering jet skis are commonly used around beaches, hotels, and resorts. On top of the noise pollution, there's the actual carbon emissions, which can be up to 250 pounds of CO2 per hour. And that doesn't even include the fuel or oil that's spilled during refueling or just average use. And the inherent nature of gasoline-powered vehicles is that there's a lot of maintenance involved with them. There's a lot of moving parts. So in a jet ski's life cycle, between maintenance and fuel, this can actually run up to $35,000. And that's especially compounded for rental companies. As it stands, no manufacturer makes a jet ski for rental companies. And in talking to these rental companies, they also have a pretty big issue with safety. I actually talked to a rental company down in Florida who he has what he calls the Hall of Shame, where every time you rent, you have to walk through a hallway and see all the crashes and damage that's happened over time. There's another gentleman we talked down to actually in Costa Rica who purchases 300 new jet skis each year, but due to environmental regulations coming out, he's actually finding his entire fleet is on the verge of ban. This can also be seen worldwide. In places like California and Europe, they have legislation being put in place to ban the sale or purchase of new gasoline vehicles. That's why Eski is creating an innovative, fully electric personal watercraft with high performance in mind. We offer a 65-mile-an-hour top speed with an average runtime of about an hour and a half. We also have a drastically reduced maintenance. The Eski, with it being electric, can actually save up to $28,000 of the $35,000 in reduced maintenance and fuel costs. Additionally, we have advanced fleet features and safety features. The fleet features allow for ease of control of all the jet skis at once to check on things like power and location. And when it comes to safety features, we have things like programmable keys, our patented active taillight, geofencing, as well as an off-throttle collision avoidance system. So our target market is, as I've kind of alluded to, rental companies, but not just any rental companies facing environmental regulations or just have very high fuel and maintenance costs. Additionally, rental companies that purchase 4 or more jet skis each year, as well as obviously have access to power. In our secondary market, we also have the regular consumer, but the regular consumer that's younger to middle age and is environmentally conscious, or maybe they just want the next cool thing that's on the cutting edge of technology. In terms of the technology that we've been developing, there's some pretty amazing things. We have our patented hot swapping battery system that allows for ease of use as well as reduced downtime between rentals. And the rental companies really need that for them to be able to make the shift. It also allows for a greatly reduced environmental impact because when a battery cell goes dead, you only have to take out part of the batteries because of them being compartmentalized. We also have, again, our patented active taillight. And this indicates to others on the water that you're slowing down, helping reduce one of the most common jet ski crashes on the water. And then we have our geofencing, which again, all these rental companies are very excited for. This allows them to create no wake zones or no go zones, as well as mark out rocks or shallow areas. Again, increasing that safety. So this is the Trident ES1, our first model, and we will be the Tesla of jet skis. Not only will we be making the best electric jet ski possible, but we'll also be making the best jet ski possible. And we figure if we're going to make the next generation of jet skis, might as well have it make it look like it. In terms of the direct competitors right now, at least in the gas field, there's Yamaha, Sea-Doo, and Kawasaki. The advantages of electric over gas are a bit obvious, but they're more environmentally friendly and drastically reduced running costs and maintenance fees. And as it stands, none of these manufacturers have plans to electrify in the very near future. In terms of our direct competitors right now, we have Taiga and El Aqua. Taiga has produced about 130 units, and El Aqua is in a similar early stage to us. But again, what we offer is that hot swapping battery system. What we offer over all of these is that fleet management features as well as the safety features I've talked about. And again, we've been working very diligently building relationships with rental companies to make sure that we're building the best jet ski possible for them. In terms of the team, again, there's me, the founder and CEO. I attended WPI and got my mechanical engineering degree from there and decided to start this once I graduated. Joining me is also Paul Protensis, our CFO, and he has decades of experience in small business and startups. We also have Reed Nowling, our project manager, who has a diverse engineering background as well as actually has experience in autonomous EVs. On our advisory board, there's a bunch of truly, truly amazing people that I could talk really forever about, but I'm just going to pick a couple of highlights. So for one, there's Pushpa Manakonda, who worked at John Deere for 17 years and was actually the director of their first electrification project there. We also have Dave Reuter, who is the principal electrical engineer at the early stages of Rivian in their battery pack design and is now helping us in our battery pack design. And actually would like to join the team full-time once funding comes in. We also have Jason Faber, who was the CFO of Bank Hometown in Worcester, but decided to leave that and now does CFO consulting for startups. And he'd also like to come on full-time once funding allows. And finally, we have Charles Dresser, who is our IP attorney, but also our IP advisor. And he helps us make the best decisions possible for our IP. So the total addressable market is a $5 billion a year industry. This includes the entire jet ski industry, as well as those who would convert to electric because either they're on a waterway that doesn't allow jet skis due to noise or pollutants ordinances, or maybe they just didn't want to buy a gas jet ski to begin with. Of that, there's our SAM, which is 60% of the TAM. This is $3 billion. This includes the entire rental industry, as well as, again, those individuals that will be making the shift. Finally, there's our SOM, which is 5% of the SAM. This means that by hitting our target, Eski will be able to generate $150 million in year 5. We would accomplish this by commencing manufacturing in Q4 of 2024, producing 250 units to start, doubling each year to year 5, where we produce 5,000 units. It means that in that 5-year span, Eski will be able to generate over $300 million worth of revenue. We've already managed to raise over $500,000 to complete our prototype, which you can see on the right. We've also gotten 2 pre-orders, 2 patents, with another one on the way, and 18 pre-orders before we even had the prototype completed. We've also been a part of the Mass Challenge cohort in 2023, as well as we just got into Berkshire Innovation Center. We also had a recent press event where we had Congressman McGovern attend, as well as the mayor of Worcester and Shrewsbury, showing their avid support for Eski and trying to bring jobs and innovation to central Massachusetts. This also generated a lot of really good press for us in local and beyond. We actually had a piece on Spectrum News that ran on prime time. All right. So Eski is seeking $2.5 million to produce our final MVP. This would help get us a custom body as well as internals, and about $1 million of that would go towards that. $750,000 would go towards hiring top talent in the EV industry to help us not just produce the best product possible, but also in a timely manner. And the rest would go towards acquiring 50 more patents, which have already been determined as high probability from Charles Dresser, as well as commencing a marketing campaign to fill those 250 pre-order slots, and also just get a larger space to accommodate our larger team. Eski is immediately ready to start production on our next MVP, and we are ready to hit the ground running and make this a reality. So come ride the next wave of EV with us. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, please feel free, or if you'd like to follow up, my contact information is on the screen. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. That was awesome, brother. Really exciting. And once again, just looks like we already got some. 1 second here. Yeah, no, I agree totally with Vivek here. It was a really amazing presentation, and whoever has any questions or comments, please feel free to either unmic or put them in the chat.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Yeah, I had a question, Jack. One of the things that I was looking forward to listening also was apart from fundraising, what other avenues do you think the community or even we could help you with, or what you're looking for? I mean, what's your approach like?
Yeah. Trying to assist in, building up that Rolodex of rental companies is always appreciated. And, again, trying to really, we've talked to a lot, but as well as just mentors overall, people to help, our capabilities in the
Yeah,
business things and engineering, as well as setting up a manufacturing facility is no small task.
yeah, yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
we can
any
have a
help is
getaway on the water.
Hmm?
B&T Eski getaway on the water sometime.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Vivek. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you so much, Jack. Again, this is being recorded, so I'm sure you get lots of feedback sent your way once we post it up. But we are going to be moving onwards to Aarushi and Jammify. So, Aarushi, whenever you're ready, let's rock and roll.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Steve, for hosting this event. Everyone, y'all are doing a great job with your presentation so far. I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if you can, one, hear me, and two, see my screen so far.
Both.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Aarushi Wadhwa, and I am the founder CEO of Jammify AI. Our mission is to create access to personalized music for fans and creators. Now, I know the music industry isn't necessarily super well understood in our market, and I'm sure you're wondering what personalized music means. So I'm going to turn this into a little, hopefully entertaining history lesson. Going back in time, the music industry really sprouted from the invention of vinyl. It was the first time humans could control their entertainment at home. One, from building their own personal vinyl record collection, and two, choosing what to play when. Before that, at-home entertainment was a static experience controlled by TV providers and radio hosts. Cassette CDs and digital music followed vinyl and broke through the standards of music albums as the main product commodity and shifted the focus to hit singles, which used to hoard the world's attention span in popular music. But in 2023, we're now in this new age where superstar artists aren't monopolizing attention. And instead, we're seeing breakouts of niche genres and styles as enabled by musical creators building their unique soundscapes. So basically, we went from having zero control of playback to building a personal library of albums and selecting albums, to building our personal playlist libraries and selecting songs. And today, in 2023, music personalization stops at that same spot. It stops at song selection or playlist curation for the average fan and listener. Why? Well, this is how the world sees music today. Fans experience a dynamic experience in person, and otherwise listeners have a static playback experience at home through the digital world. And the problem with personalizing music further is that there are only two options. One, you can hire an engineer to build out your own soundscape and unique genre, you could say. However, it costs up to $20,000 per song. It takes months. You're losing full control on your musical vision, and you're becoming an artist of some sort. The other option is learning production engineering. And behind that, this title right here, you can actually see the softwares that music producers use to make music. They're highly technical. My background's in signal processing, and the first time I entered a digital audio workstation, I did not know how to read a sine wave and translate it to music. So these softwares take up to 10 years to learn. It's still up to $10,000 for baseline equipment, and there's a ton of copyright and licensing issues when it comes to developing your own music. So Jammify's solution involves Gen AI creation with fan-in-the-loop user experience for personalized music. A quick demo is something that I'm going to walk through right now. I'm going to start playing this, but let me know if you can't hear anything starting now. Did you hear that?
No.
No.
Okay, that sounds like a no.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But basically how this works as a small MVP is that each of these buttons is a small snippet of a song. So if you think about a song, it has a bunch of different instruments, a bunch of different sounds, all sequenced together, layered on top of each other. And we basically take a single song and we break it apart into its smallest puzzle piece components, enabling any user to come in and sequence them the way that they would like to. And future features will include other editing and recording capabilities. So now, with Jammify, an artist, an everyday fan, a listener can come onto our platform, take maybe a minute to learn how to use our software, minimal charges for baseline equipment, having no copyright issues, full sonic control to create their own unique personal sonic preferenced music. According to similar softwares that exist for creator tools, we have followed a freemium monthly subscription model. However, we have further tailored our model, engaging the market in fan engagement. We realize that music today is popular because of the artist and the fan relationship, and we want to engage those artists' fans to create their own unique personal remix of their favorite music from their favorite artist. That means that we partner with artists for their upcoming singles that are being released as a promotional campaign. Our first few artist partners include Senseless Optimism right here in the middle, boasting over 100,000 followers on Instagram. She's also an up-and-coming local Boston artist, which is super cool. Razkaz and Wu-Tang Clan are two legendary hip-hop icons who came upon the rise with Snoop Dogg, both boasting over 100K and 2 million followers on Instagram as well. These are the fans that we get to engage deeper as these artists come out with their next big singles. So these partners open up our funnel. They help us acquire users. Artist partnerships unlock exposure to millions. The artists promoting our platform due to also wanting to engage with their fans deeper and unlock an additional revenue stream means that artists promote the platform on social media and during their tours, expecting an average of 10% engagement based on industry standards. And as fans create their own music and promote that, we expect a further 1% conversion from their fans as fans. Looking at the market today, there are a few successful music creation platforms such as Splice, BandLab, DJ Pro, Boomy, and Make It. What they've all done really well to some extent is creating access to music creation and making it easier. However, they each target a very small segment of the population. So for example, Splice targets really early producers or DJs. BandLab targets a very hobbyist music creator. DJ Pro targets DJs. Boomy and Make It target a more like social and AI-friendly experience. And where we break off and provide a competitive advantage is leveraging the market's next big sectors for revenue in the music industry, which is, again, in fan-engaged creation, and second, in accessible personalization. So the fan engagement industry as a whole is actually greater than $26 billion. It's staggering. We're taking a segment of that and saying, looking at the fan engaged music creation market and seeing that our TAM is over $8 billion. And this is based on the fact that 83,000 artists have a total of 94 billion monthly fan engagements, which presents as opportunities for us to tap into. Our SAM is the USA market, which is 70% of the TAM according to Spotify. And our SOM is 68,000 artists that are mid-tier artists from 50K to 500K monthly fan engagements. And that's the artists that we start to tackle today. That gives us about a $500 million SOM. So looking at the music industry today, Rob Avalo and Dan Ronci are two really, really big names who understand where music has gone in the past historically and where it's going in the future, truly analyzing the ins and outs of what is working for artists, record labels, marketing today. Rob Abloh sees that music's next decade is about cultivating fans. So fandom is an untapped opportunity. Being direct to fan is increasingly important. And what's more important than building a large fan base, such as the likes of Beyonce and Taylor Swift, is to build a deep fan base. So maybe having 1,000 fans, but having them more engaged, who are going to convert to paying fans and customers and engaged fans throughout the entire lifetime of an artist. Our platform unlocks that, bringing the artists and fans deeper, collaborating together, and giving the fans an additional experience to more than just listening to an artist's music. Another really big pinpoint of the music industry today is that music streaming growth has leveled off in the last couple of years, and as a result, music creation is the next big opportunity as more creatives enter the market. Our platform enables creators to create with each other and fans. The team, I'm the founder CEO. My background is in signal processing and machine learning. I studied that at Carnegie Mellon, where I got my bachelor's and master's, and I also studied engineering policy. In industry, I've been working at early stage AI startups as a machine learning engineer and product manager. I'm also a singer, songwriter, and executive producer, and had my own struggles with creating my own music, finding producers to tap into to help build my own personal sound. And I thoroughly believe that we can build this platform for all non-technical artists and fans and listeners sooner than I can find a producer to work with me, and sooner than I can learn music production myself. My co-founder CTO, Michael Farron, is also an expert in signal processing and machine learning. He went to school at Georgia Tech and did music machine learning research specifically as well while he was there. He's also a stellar producer and DJ. One of our advisors, Jonathan Bailey, is known as an AI music expert. He was the former CTO of Isotope and Native Instruments for the last 10 years, and those are two really, really big music tech companies in our industry that help garner a lot of industry knowledge and market knowledge, as well as tech knowledge as we're building our product. So looking at our timeline from when we started to where we are today, we started late last year where we settled on this problem of music production is too difficult. We tried selling certain products to Berklee College students. We tried selling different products to freelance producers, and we continue to test various products and prototypes with various stakeholders in the market to find some form of early conviction to build something out at scale. What we're building today, we have found that conviction, and it's very exciting to continue to test our product, continue to build features for the market that we see there as fans and users. In the last few months, I've also partnered with Antler, which is a venture capital firm, for their fellowship in New York, as well as Visible Hands for their fellowship in Boston. And we actually launched our first pilot this past month and brought in a few hundred users within the first 24 hours. And we're gearing up to continue partnering with the 20 artists that we have on our waitlist and developing additional product features for them. That being said, we're also opening our fundraising round this coming month to continue to develop the product and develop artist partnerships. We're looking at 20 to 30 in the next year and a hopeful partnership with South by Southwest Music Festival and Conference as well. Thank you guys for your time. At any point after this call, if you would like to see more of a product demo or prototypes that we're building in the future, I'm happy to walk through them. I will open it up for questions.
Thank you so much, Aarushi. So first of all, sign me up for that product demo. Secondly, some feedback for you. As you know, I think it's like super cool, this intersection of creativity and entrepreneurship. As a really big music fan, both on the creation side and on the listening side. I just think this is like really well executed. And let's open it up to some other folks here in the audience, whether you're in the chat or whether you're up here on stage. Let's get some feedback for Aarushi.
Aarushi, I thought the product sounds super, super cool. Thanks again for the presentation. Awesome concept. So the product at its core is it's not made for your average music listener who just wants a playlist on Spotify and a curated playlist. It's made for people who are interested in generating some sort of backtrack or just use it for production, but in a non-technical way, right?
Yeah, so we're building the ideal next generation music production software that enables customization without needing to know all the technicalities, ins and outs of one, signal processing, to how many tracks you can store on your local hard drive, for example, on your computers. It's been interesting being in the space to learn that music producers are a lot more tech savvy than a lot of the engineers that I went to college with. It's not a dig at anyone. It's just an actual incredible realization, and kudos to them.
Got you. And would you still need to have, I know it's a demo, would you still need to have some sort of background on musical knowledge, keys, just scales, stuff like that, or not necessarily?
Yeah, that's a good question. Not at all. Our platform makes sure to have certain guardrails in place so that you can or can't break rules in a way that creates music in the right way. So, for example, with this right here, I'm happy to, again, go through this at another time or send this link afterwards. But if I clicked on this button, it would play a sample. And this button, it would also play a sample following this one. The difference is, if I needed to know music production or any music theory, I would click this one and then this one at the specific right time to make sure that it all fits together according to music theory and like a good sound. But our platform automatically synchronizes the second button or any following buttons to the right timestamp so that the user does not have to know anything about rhythm or that baseline of music theory.
Got you. Awesome. Yeah, very interesting product. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I also think it was a super interesting product. I had a question about what you just said with the international grid. Like, I know for myself, I think it'd be kind of cool, right, to have this.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. If there's no other questions.
I think Kekoa was
Oh
asking.
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, Aarushi, can you hear Kekoa?
I can. Go ahead, Kekoa.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was just saying, like, I think it's super cool that like it teaches you or like I think it would be super cool if like I was playing on this platform and it was teaching me like the basics of rhythm and all those sort of things for music theory. Is that part of the product, or is that more something that you're thinking along the vision, or is that nothing included in that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the personas that we see coming in to use this platform right now and where we're getting conviction is, one, as fans and listeners, two, as non-technical artists being non-producers like me, and three, actually, those who want to learn more about music production. So a lot of the features that we have coming in the future incorporate a gamified experience as well as an educational experience, so students can also get on this platform and we can evolve this into what students use today and what they continue to use when they're older.
Very cool. Yeah, I will not be sharing.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, does that answer the question, Kekoa?
Sounds good. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just joking, saying nobody's going to be hearing the music that I used to make on GarageBand way back in the days. But thank you ever so much, Aarushi. As always, a pleasure. And thanks again, everybody, for joining us. We're going to be moving on now to our next presenter, Chris Duby with Orion. So, yeah, Chris, if you want to unmic and let's rock and roll.
Yeah, nice rock and roll. Here we go. Let me... Can everyone see my screen, hear my voice?
Yes, we can. You and your fancy, beautiful AI presentation.
Oh, thank you so much, Steve. Hey, everyone. My name is Chris Duby. I'm the CEO of Orion. We are a pre-seed company that is building AI in order to help ideation, pre-seed, and every startup all the way up to Series A do things better and have more success. So if you're looking at the screen right now and you see just the tagline, skillfully navigate limitless possibilities, you could be thinking probably one of two things. The first thing may be this is something to help me get in a spaceship with Bezos and blast off to space. That would be number one, maybe. Number two is maybe this is something I can use in order to pick the next Powerball jackpot. Both of those things wouldn't be true, but who knows? Maybe at some point down the line it could do that. What it is that we've built here and are in the process of building is an AI engine that's built to recommend personalized resources, connections, and direction of progress to turn early ideas into reality. And the reason that we wanted to build this is really around this quote for a bit of context. People that think differently, people that want to build things that don't exist to solve problems that do. If you've never done that, or you are in the process of doing it, you know how hard it is. It's really difficult. And the major pain point where the problem starts is you don't always necessarily know where it is that you're at. Like, what is the journey? Where am I in the process? What is it that I need to get there? Because statistics show 2 to 3 times is what most founders are off when they're projecting how much time and how many resources they're going to need in order to get to that goal that they're searching for. And so John C. Maxwell is someone that speaks about leadership and teaches leadership. And this quote, I feel like, is the perfect context for what it is that we're going to go over today with Orion. Because the fact is 9 out of 10 startups fail. And it's not the founder that fails, it's the idea. And that's sort of staggering. 1 in 12 founders that start a business will actually create a successful business. And we've categorized and identified the reasons why that is, and we're looking to make those numbers obsolete, make them better. There's no one simple way to find relevant, personalized resources for where you are in your journey right now. And there's no dedicated place to keep track of all of that and do your idea also. You can't keep track of all of the what, the how, the who, the when, the where, and on top of all of that, still create your business. And it's not just the entrepreneur, the innovator, the people that come up with the ideas. It's literally everyone that is involved in creating success inside of the startup ecosystem. So that's the entrepreneurs or innovators or visionaries, whatever you want to call those people. And then it's the organizations that support those innovators. And it's also the funding sources. And when you boil what it is that these 3 categories that people are looking for, it's pretty simple to boil it down to what it is they're looking for. The thing is like when we're trying to circumnavigate the planet in a digital age, the thing that we're using is very simple and it's outdated. It's not the tools that we're using, it's us. It's our brain, it's our ability to keep track of all of that, to find the resources by using the extremely smart tools we have at our fingertips. But when do I use them? And how do I use them in order to get exactly what it is that I need? And how do I know that it's the right thing? That's the problem. We're using our own internal compasses to navigate something with tools that are much smarter than us, but we don't know exactly when to use them, how to use them, or who to ask in order to get the right information. And so when we're looking at this problem, how do we make it better? Well, we have to know exactly where we are first. The current way of life for all of us, everything that we're doing falls into 3 buckets. It's the do-it-yourself content stuff like YouTube, Dropbox. It's the things that you're doing or need to do or need to find out. But then there's also the second box, which is the network effect tools. Like who's in your network? How do you get more of that? How do you get more opportunities? How do you communicate with those people? And then you have the web search stuff, where Google dominates 92% of everything that we're finding on the internet. But now we have this fast approaching Chat GPT, AI guided technologies, even more advanced, even more intelligent tools. But how do we use them? Because right now we already spend 40% of our time doing things that make us no dollars. So even if we're creating really smart tools, we're still utilizing it in the same way that we always have. The tools are getting better and smarter, but we just don't have the bandwidth to use those super smart tools. And so we're going to just keep doing the same things over and over again like we always have and never get any better. So my team and I said, what if? What if we could make progress everywhere that we have tools now from one place? And what if that one place connected all the current tools we use, could analyze it, and then actually suggest how to use those tools better, or suggest new tools that would fit what it is that we're trying to do more closely? And what if that one place also gave us the ability to navigate the Internet of Things intelligently and find personalized resources for me, for you, in our place, in the path along taking an idea and then growing it into a startup that then grows into something more impactful for a whole bunch of other people. And along the way, gave us intelligent guidance to prioritize all the notifications that we're being bombarded with and the tasks we need to do in order to create traction on the things that will allow us to actually feel progress. What if that place existed? What if that thing existed? And instead of having to go to all these places came to us. And we're able to understand it in a way that we've never been able to before. What would the difference be in success? Well, the solution would be instant acuity, or instant clarity around understanding the things that we didn't understand before, or understood before but couldn't possibly give time to. That's what Orion is. See, when we're at the middle of it and we're trying to focus on things, there's really only two things it boils down to that we're focusing on: our personal progress, and then the progress of our idea into a thing that becomes a startup that becomes impactful. That's what it is that we're focusing on. And that's the only thing that we should focus on. And so what it is that we're doing with Orion is we're going to gamify that, and then we're going to lay AI on top of it. So it's no longer going to be AI. It's going to be an intelligent navigation headquarters that's going to allow you to search the Internet of Things, ask it questions, tell it bad jokes, have it tell you bad jokes, but really get down to progressing yourself and progressing your idea through verified pathways that, because of the connected services and apps and tools that you use now, it has a lot of ways to learn about you very, very quickly, and then provide you with answers to questions that you may not even know how to ask with the current state of tools that we have now. When's the last time you went onto Google and said, what's the best accelerator for pre-seed startups? And what did it give you? And where are those programs available? And when are they starting? And when has their applications closed? Do you have to filter all that stuff on your own? You won't have to with this. And that's just one example, because you'll navigate intelligently through the things that you need. You'll get personalized resources and answers. And then as all this flows through the system, it's going to just log where it is you're going, but not just the information to give validation to your journey. It's actually going to take the stuff that means something, the accolades, the accomplishment, the progress, and it's going to put it into a place. And so for the first time, you'll literally be able to, within 1 to 2 clicks, digitize your journey and your accolades into something that you can share with whoever you want, whenever you want, wherever they are. That's what it is that we're building. So in summary, I don't want to throw a whole bunch of stuff at you here. I'm not going to share our market and all of this. I just want you to understand what this is going to be. the Orion Acuity engine is going to, for the first time, allow you to take unlimited possibilities of success and failure and simplify them into personalized options for where you are in your journey by the use of adaptive AI through an engine that you can speak naturally with, that will give you intuitive ways to simplify how complex it is to build a startup with personalized resources, suggestions on connections, path in order for you to create clear, tangible steps towards progress, and at the end, share the validated path that you've created for yourself. We feel like that's a pretty amazing way to take 90% failure and drop it down to 85 or 80. What would that do for people's lives? What would that do for the economy? That's how we're coming at this. And so we feel like our competitive advantage is really not like the technology, but it's the people behind it. So I'm Chris, and I promise you that is actually a picture of me. I don't know if you can see my face right now, but I have no hair. I'm going through like a bad hair phase. Our CTO, Gusto, is in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and our CIO, Ron, is out in Silicon Valley. And these are some of the companies that we've either worked for, worked with, consulted with, mentored in. And the competitive advantages, the three people on the screen have almost 45 years experience building, consulting, coaching, advising, and mentoring people who build things that don't exist to solve problems that do. So we know how this goes. This is the part of the conversation that I want to, it's sort of like a little secret that I want to tell everyone on here and anyone that's going to watch us from here on out, whether on the recording or what have you. So a lot of people out there, when they're trying to build things, they see this as like, oh, you have to be really lucky and you have to be the right place, the right time. And it's actually more calculated than that. And so this is what I'm going to show you. And this is why I'm going to tell you why we're so confident, almost certain, why Orion will be the thing that will become the norm as opposed to just a choice in a sea of tools. So there's this thing called the rule of threes. And the rule of threes has been taken by big data trends for about 72 years. And so what you're looking at here is called the hype cycle. This is how everything new goes through the population of people and goes through innovation trigger when it starts to the peak of inflated expectations like AI is the new thing, all the way down into AI sucks, all the way up into, oh, this is what AI is used for. That's the first aspect of the rule of threes. You have to go through the cycle. All of us that pitch here today have to go through this. Second thing is there are three things that happen and are looked at in order for you to be able to get through this cycle. The first is timing. Is it the right time? Or are you way ahead of time? Are people looking at this going, that's cool, but I'm never going to use that? That means the wrong timing. Interest. That's cool. I want to use that. When can I use that? And then maturity. This is the hardest thing to hit. Maturity of an innovation, something new that most people have not seen or heard of, takes anywhere from 10 to 20 years to fully mature. And then when it goes through this entire cycle, you've actually won when, yay, you get to the end here, which takes anywhere from 10 to 20 years. The final aspect of the rule of threes is the things that are created that revolutionize the way that we live our life. It's usually not one technology, but three fully mature technologies that have gone through this cycle and reached this point that change the way we live. And that's what I'm going to show you right now, why Orion is going to be that.
Yeah, just to remind you though, Chris, a little bit over time, but I'll give you like another minute and a half. How does that sound?
60 seconds is fine. So today we have our three technologies: adaptive AI, gamification, and data fabric. 2023 data fabric is 1 year away from maturity. Gamification is already fully mature, and AI is actually going down the slope into the trough of disillusionment. We're starting to build this now because in 2027, 3 years from now, data fabric will be fully mature. Gamification will have been 15 years fully mature, and AI will be fully mature. All of them in 3 years will hit this center point. It will actually be a black swan convergence because when you take those three things and you combine them to get what Orion is offering, The year's 2027. Back in 2007, 20 years ago, this man took a pocket-sized screen, lithium-ion battery, and microprocessor chip and created a thing that we now have multiple of. 20 years from 2027, right when all of the technologies that Orion is will be fully mature and put together. And so here's my ask. If anything that you've heard today is interesting, take your smartphone, scan that QR code, and please be a part of the start. Join our 1,000 user, our earliest for users, which will be in 48 days, in order to tell us how we should make it better than we've already started to build it. Sorry for going over time.
No problem.
But I'm done. Fully ready to have any questions, comments.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's why we have some buffers built in. But yeah, so as always, whoever has any comments, questions, either put them in the chat or unmic and ask Chris. We'll give it a few minutes. We'll give it a minute or two here.
All right, seems like no questions.
Yeah, and we got Puck with the words of encouragement there. Fantastic. All right, so moving swiftly along, we have Denisa Kim with Anteros Bio. Denisa, can't wait to hear what you've been working on.
Oh, thanks, Dave. I really appreciate it. All right, you guys are going to have to bear with me as I learn how to navigate.
No worries. You've been bearing with me for this entire showcase.
It's good to see all the familiar faces, though, already.
Yeah.
Can you guys see the deck?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
Oh, did I lose you?
No, you can. I accidentally muted myself because this button is a little bit problematic. Oh. But there you go. We can see your screen, see the presentation.
All right, perfect.
The floor is yours.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, it's really good seeing all of you and hearing what everybody's been up to. So this is Anteros Bio. We're developing the first partner sexual health kit on a mission to connect reproductive microbiomes. So in a previous relationship for nearly 3 years, I had over a dozen urinary tract infections. And the worst part about it is that I was the only one carrying all the burden of testing and taking antibiotic treatment, while my partner just stood on the sidelines with feelings of guilt and confusion. I quickly learned that once you enter the cycle of recurrence, it's very difficult to get out of due to the variables listed above. Okay, so before I dive into the stats, what the heck is a microbiome? I know a lot of you come from a technical background, but I have to dumb it down to a 5th grade level. So it's essentially defined as microorganisms in a particular environment. So as humans, we naturally have good and bad bacteria and fungi all over our body. But when imbalances start to occur, that's when we start to have issues. Your urogenital microbiome is ever evolving, and it fluctuates as other aspects of your life shift. Now, there's multiple reasons why these changes occur over time, but some of the major contributors include the ones I've highlighted here in purple. Sexual intercourse is definitely a big one, especially when you have new partners or multiple partners, pregnancy, or anything that fluctuates your hormones, smoking, stress, and of course, external products that you may use for hygiene purposes. Okay, so why should we care about these infections? Well, they're prevalent, common, painfully recurring, and costing the U.S. medical system billions of dollars per year. The most common infections are UTIs, bacterial vaginosis, and yeast infections, with millions of women suffering every single year. And the numbers are not decreasing. From modern sequencing methods, we've also started to uncover a growing evidence of males actually being carriers of certain strains of microbes on the penile skin and urethral sites. So as a result, given the absurd percentage of reinfection, to achieve sustained cure, we can justify that both partners need to get tested and treated together. Okay, so what's the problem? An unhealthy vaginal or penile microbiome is a severe risk factor for acquisition of sexually transmitted infections or diseases and adverse reproductive outcomes. What do we mean by risks? Well, all the terms in purple are actually linked out to science-backed journals relating to consequences such as HPV, infertility, preterm birth, and even cancer. Okay, so the golden question I get asked very frequently is, Denisa, why can't I just go directly to my doctor? Number one is inconsistent testing. I was blindly prescribed antibiotics over the phone for more than half of my infections. No urine or swab samples were taken, so we had no clue what microbes we were even targeting, which is now very problematic given that antibiotic resistance is becoming a public health crisis. Two is low effectiveness. Cultures and PCR alone have failed us. There's a 50% chance your culture will come back negative and less than a 30% accuracy in determining dominant species. Meanwhile, a PCR test has a very list of microbes such as Gardnerella and E. coli. But research, as we discover new organisms in vaginal or penile infections, these narrow panels may not detect key urogenital pathogens in the future. And three is clinics have expensive individual treatment. We've all gone to the doctor, so with no symptom resolution, patient suffering is prolonged and costs for treatments are increased. So what makes this different? Well, one is continuous testing. We provide a continuous membership shipped once per quarter and actually test for your microbes. Two is high effectiveness. Metagenomic next-gen sequencing is the most advanced DNA technology with a sensitivity and specificity in identifying the reported organisms at 97% and about 93 to 99.7% respectively. Three is precision care. Because we offer one kit but double the testing material for you and your partner, it's actually more cost-effective than two people going to the doctor individually. Okay, so here's how it works. You order a kit, both partners take a genital swab and urine sample, you ship your results back to our lab, and then we display your results in your user profile with next steps forward. Our solution's simple. It's an at-home swab and urine sample that covers all bacterial and fungal strains in you and your partner's microbiome. The microbes are broken down into three categories: protective, dynamic, or disruptive species, and syncing your results with your partner is as easy as scanning your profile QR code. Unlike genetic results, which are static, microbiomes are dynamic and can reflect progression towards or away from disease. So by testing over time, you can catch potential imbalances early, giving you the chance to proactively promote the protective bacteria and prevent the disruptive ones from taking hold. Within your dashboard, you'll be able to view individual statistics and assess your protective and disruptive score based on your microbial breakdown. You can also compare tests from different dates that you took, add new partners, and even engage anonymously within the community tab for emotional or relational support. And if you authorize it, you and your partner can sync your results and track your microbiomes over time to assess what lifestyle changes or medications are working or not based on your compatibility score. And actionable results manifest into reports that can be exported for you and your doctor. Initially, we'll be acting as a data company, offering science-backed solutions that are rated by novelty to give partners access to the most up-to-date information and highlight harmful sexual practices they can eliminate today. But in the future, we'd like to ship out Rx treatment immediately if infections are present. Currently, Anteros would be the only partner test that holistically looks at the genital and urinary microbiomes. As we start to collect user data, compatibility reporting and result syncing will be proprietary to our company, displaying results in a seamless app interface. And although from a glance we look like the most premium option, because we provide double the testing material for you and your partner, we're actually the most cost-effective. Chronic conditions gave us a TAM of over $200 billion, while the STI and STD diagnostics market was just under $4 billion. Data on couples was a little bit more difficult to pinpoint, so I simply took the 128 million married Americans, assumed they made a one-time purchase at the kit for $380, giving us our sum of 49 million. CAGR is approximately 7.9% until 2030, and as STI health becomes less stigmatized and siloed from efforts to promote overall health growth within the subsect will expand. Our opportunity seems to increase as nationwide countries begin to realize that prevention and control of STIs requires a more holistic approach that promotes sexual health and expands access to comprehensive prevention, rather than just focusing on individual behaviors or blaming people who acquire them. Our core revenue stream for pre-launch will be direct to consumer with relatively healthy margins for the one-time purchase and subscription option hovering around 80%. In the future, once we get FDA clearance, we hope to pursue insurance coverage for our Rx treatment options and partner with employers as these benefits have been shown to increase productivity, retain and recruit talent by covering costs of healthcare products and services. In the past 4 months, I've grown the company to a well-rounded team of 7 young and bright individuals. I'm a serial entrepreneur and a chemical engineer by trade. Our CTO/CSO has 2 patents in bioinformatic algorithms, plus previous startup experience. And with the help of our software engineer, Sai and Jaspreet, our computational biologist, plus 2 marketing experts, we have been moving quickly over the last couple months. And although we have previous startup experience, we are looking to expand our medical advisory board. So please send your physicians our way. In December, we filed a non-provisional utility patent after interviewing over 50 people from Facebook support groups. Today, we're on track to pre-launch our MVP sometime in October, and we'll be going live on all major social media platforms by September 1st. By the end of the year, we will be looking to raise our first pre-seed round. In 2024, we will be assessing engagement to prioritize key partnerships in the industry and new products or services complementary to our test. By 2025, we want to get FDA clearance. That way we can medically claim to test and treat STIs and STDs. And our long-term vision is a pharmaceutical acquisition to strengthen their portfolio for precision health solutions by developing therapeutics from our data. Thank you.
All right. Wow. Right out of the gate, Denise, so that was really, really engaging. Definitely also like seeing some progress from the last time we spoke about your startup. That's a killer team. And, I personally love what it is that you're doing, combining like all these different things together. So, yeah, once again, if anybody has any questions for Denisa, any comments they'd like to make, either let me know. I can bring you up here on stage or put your questions and comments in the chat. Folks have already. Sorry about the background noise there. Life in the big city gets kind of exciting. Cool. Yep. And yeah, Denisa, did you have any other like asks maybe that you wanted to put forward? I agree with Aiden. This is really good.
I appreciate it. I mean, we won our first pitch competition in April, and I originally had like a monetary amount for our ask for the purposes of that exercise, but I'm not comfortable putting a dollar amount until after we get some quantitative data post MVP launch in October. So I think it'll be much more appropriate to have fundraising conversations then. But yeah, other than the medical advisory board and any microbiologists, urologists, gynecologists that would be interested in having a conversation, that's it right now for the immediate future.
All right, I love everything about what you just said, and which will bring us to our thank you again, Denisa. That will bring us to our very last, but certainly not the least, presenter of this end of summer showcase, Rishab with Joyn. Rishab, how are you, brother? Are you ready to go? Hello, Rishab. Can you hear us? Okay. Let's give it about a minute or two here. And, while we're waiting, again, if anybody has any questions, not only for Denisa and the other startups that have presented here, but any questions for me or Jason or Vivek about B&T, also do that. Yeah, and by the way, I agree with Jerry there. Definitely, I think I might have said it before, amazing progress made by Denisa. Rishab, are you there? If so, can you please unmute? Okay. All right. So.
Yeah, I'll just echo what you said, and I think everybody did an amazing job, and some of these were new presentations for me. Some I've, seen the progress over the last several months or more, and yeah, everybody's really taking big strides, and excited to see all the continued growth from here. So yeah, Steve, great job getting the picking out the startups, getting the amazing crew on here, and excited to see everyone's momentum continue.
I am
Hey,
as
everyone.
well. Rishab, there. Hey, look at that. Awesome.
Sorry, I've never used the mic on Ecos, so it
It's
had
okay.
me set up my permissions.
All right. No worries, brother. So glad
All
of you
right.
to join us. I was going to make that bad joke. So, oh, Steve, put yourself on mute now. Okay. Whenever you're ready, Rishab, take your time, brother. And would love to hear about what you're working on.
All right. Once I figure out how to share my screen, we'll be right there. Okay. Hey, everyone. I'm Rishab, the founder and CTO of Joyn, and we are on a mission to redefine connection as it exists right now. We're trying to build a social communication platform that is supercharged by AI. It's funny enough, I think the theme of our startup showcase this time has been AI. Been a lot of innovative AI companies, and I'm glad to be part of this amazing showcase that Steve has organized for all of us. But yeah, so where are we coming from? A lot of us probably use Instagram, LinkedIn, some other form of social media, which the emphasis of all of these forms of social media, as we've seen it, have been connections. They've been how many followers do you have, or how many people are you connected to, whose thought leadership are you listening to, or who listens to you. But we aren't really connected to a lot of these folks. And when I say connected, I mean on a personal level. So even though we have a ton of followers or a ton of connections, in a way we're isolated because social platforms emphasize popularity, or numerical popularity specifically, over quality. The simple communication apps that we use, LinkedIn, Messenger, Messages even, they don't really help us keep up with the people in our lives because, let's be real, we have the top 10 connections of ours we already have on whatever social media platform or whatever primary communication platform we use. I communicate with my closest friends on iMessage or Messages, and I'm pretty happy doing that. Any more than the top 10, and I have to personally remember what I spoke to them last about, or where are we in our relationship. Social networks aren't great at making genuine connections. That's why we're building Joyn, a private social platform that prioritizes one-on-one interactions. We focus on privacy and a commitment to no spam, and really taking out the cold DMs that I'm sure a lot of us get on LinkedIn. We're centered around conversations. We've got features for seamless communication. We bucket our features into two. We've got communication and connection. For communication, we've got snoozing and archiving, auto-translate, context-aware suggestions, and intelligent calendaring. And for connection, we've got Cordy, which is a AI-powered super connector for selective new connections. We've got a Q&A feed, which generates questions based on your interests, your previous answers, and helps you get to know people and helps people get to know you better. We've kind of flipped the whole chat GPT paradigm on its head to where instead of us asking GPT questions, we're having GPT ask you questions tailored to your background, tailored to your experience, and using that to get to know you better. as this grows, our goal for Cordy is to become your favorite thought partner. The more you use it, the more it learns about you, the more it's able to speak, I don't want to say for you, but in a way for you and like you. And who best to use as a thought partner than somebody who speaks and thinks like yourself? So eventually, that's our goal with Cordy. We've got some traction so far. I don't like to push this slide too far, but we raised 200K in Q1, and since then we've done an alpha and a beta cohort, and we finally went live on Apple and Google Play a couple months ago. We've got a supposedly impressive retention figure of 49.2% for our 28-day retention, which is 90th plus percentile for social apps on the Apple App Store. Note that this data is skewed because there are a lot of social apps on the App Store. Nevertheless, having a 49% retention after a month of usage is a number that we're proud of. As of now, we've got a strong team backing this. We've got Dustin, who's a lifelong entrepreneur. He's got 4 IPOs behind him and a bunch of, 2 billion plus in financing. My other co-founder, Austin, we met through a startup program in Hawaii, and the two of us are second-time founders. Both were with different companies when we first met and decided to do something together. He's a consumer marketer and an engineer. Really brings my knowledge and his knowledge together. We are actively operating. Dustin is with us. He's supporting us, but not actively operating as a co-founder. We've got engineers based out of Ukraine. Alexei, or as he likes to call himself, Lex, and Vadim. Dominique is our designer based out of San Francisco, and we're currently in the process of hiring one more of our engineers based out of Hawaii. At this point of time, we are opening a raise in September with 100K committed, and our goal is to use our funds to enhance our functionality, specifically the AI functionality around the thought partner. We're also building a CRM, which is the eventual goal of Joyn. We want you to be able to navigate your personal relationships through a view that is very similar to a CRM, helping you keep in touch and keep track of anything and everything that's important to you and the people you care about. As with any other social app, the growth strategy for us is paramount. We want to make sure that we have a good path to attracting users and retaining users, and no better way to do that than active advertising and active social media campaigns. Our goal is to get to 1 million downloads by mid next year, and that's where we're headed. To summarize, we're solving a core human problem of social isolation and connection. We are building a AI-powered connection and communication platform that we think will help solve the problem of social isolation. We've got good results from our beta cohort, and we're seeing some product market fit. As with all startups, we're trying very hard to get to a point where we have product market fit, but it is a never-ending journey, as we all know. We've got a strong and unique team with previous exits, unique insights, and we've got great technical and business capabilities and consumer backgrounds. And as I just mentioned, we are starting our next raise and would love to hear from you all about what you think about what we're building, and or if this is a problem that bothers any of us, because I know it does bother me. So if anyone would like to stay in touch, we're all here on Ecos, but of course you can connect with me on Joyn, and got my email. Thank you.
You are welcome. Everybody, feel free to join in and stop me making that as much as possible, because I feel like Rishab's gonna be like, brother, come on, enough with the puns. But I mean, in all seriousness, speaking as a person who, like, I know you guys have seen all the stuff I write about, like connecting and all that stuff. It's so true that, like, even in this world of so much like technology, the craving for connection has never been more like in demand. And I find it very reassuring that people that are well versed in technology and are well versed at, like, building startups and launching amazing ideas have really zeroed in on this too. Because I think it's going to be very important for our long term future as a society to get back to like being with each other and interacting with each other and truly like getting to know one another. And with that little bit of a softy commentary, I'll open it up to anybody else who maybe wants to chime in here.
Yeah, no, Steve, I completely agree with that. I mean, the startups that we saw today, I mean, all the startups had different, industries representing them, had different stories, which I really love. And yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to more people and helping them.
I could not agree more. So, folks, the good news is we're actually coming in a little bit early here. We've had a lot of amazing conversations, and a lot of investors and other community members have been emailing me repeatedly saying they're sorry that they couldn't have made it online. But I will be sharing all of your information with them for connections and all that good stuff. And then we will be hosting another startup showcase in October, because I'm actually going to put it over to Vivek one more time, because one of the things that BNT is most looking forward to in September is our support of the Techstar Startup Weekend. So, Vivek, if you want to just give like a little info on that, and then we can wrap it up and let these fine folks get back to the rest of their lives.
Perfect. I agree, Steve. I mean, since September is obviously very, very huge in Boston. There's Startup Boston Week, there's Techstar Startup Weekend. There's so many events and conferences going on. And I'm kind of biased because, I I just prefer Techstar Startup Weekend more than anything else, just because of the quality of people that you meet. Um, it doesn't matter if you're raising right now or if you have a startup idea or even if you're further along your startup journey. I mean, you could literally meet anybody. Yeah, don't tell Stephanie, Steve. But yeah, I mean, we're so excited to host this at Wentworth. I mean, we're really gonna have the best of Boston there, and it's something that I believe that's something that Boston's not seen in a long time, and it's for free for people to attend on Sunday. So I mean, you can literally meet people that you want to meet: investors, angels, venture-backed founders. Talk to mentors on our website. And one more exciting thing is we're building a Airtable where you could, if you're a participant or a mentor or a judge, you can literally book time with these really good mentors or investors or anybody that you see, and then grab coffee with them and just chat with them, for free. So Steve and I are so excited to be hosting this. But yeah.
We are indeed. So, thank you once again, everybody, for joining us. This is Steve Vokas, co-director of Boston New Technology. Wishing all of you all the very best. I'm going to stop the recording